what's up, you guys? Welcome back to O2L, our second life. I'm just kidding. Welcome back to the Lady Lorian show. I just wanted to do something a little different, keep Dodge and Kenzie on their toes. For those of you who are not in our age group and doesn't know what that is, they were a YouTube vlog group, a la Vlog Squad kind of stuff. Anyway, don't worry about it. We're the Lady Lorians. We're completely different. We're all female Star Wars podcast.
I like the other girls.
And we are
I'm actually just like other girls.
Ow! I just banged my elbow.
Oh, yeah.
I'm clumsier than other girls. Anyway, we're an all-female Star Wars podcast. If you're new here, if you're not new here, thank you. Thanks for coming back. We love you. Today we've got me, Ruthie. We have Dodge and Kenzie chatting it up about episode 6 of the Book of Boba Fett and all his pals, as I like to call it. If one more person says something about it's just Star Wars the show, I'm going to block you, okay? No. Look, we can start here because I have something to say about this.
Ooh.
Okay, at the end, no. Like, during 2020, Kathleen Kennedy said that we would be getting the next chapter of The Mandalorian in December of 2021.
Mm-hmm.
Did she?
Then
She did say that.
Yeah, she did say that.
She revoked her rights. She said, just kidding.
She revoked that later on, and then it was announced in the end credits of The Mandalorian very last minute that we would be watching the Book of Boba Fett. Here's the thing. I feel like if we got Mando season 3 and it was mostly Boba Fett, that people would be like, this is Din show. This is The Mandalorian. And so, like, maybe they had these episodes and they were like, well, can we even call this The Mandalorian? Because these first couple episodes are about Boba Fett. And then somebody said, I know, we should edit these and make it like it's Boba Fett's own show. So I think this is part of Kathleen Kennedy saying we would get the next chapter of The Mandalorian around the time that Book of Boba Fett dropped. I don't know how that works, but I remember her very distinctly saying that, and it's been floating around Twitter again. And so I don't know if this show was originally planned to be the way that it was, you know?
That's a good question.
Also, I saw a tweet that made a really good point, and it was like, when I sit down to watch a Star Wars show, my mindset is not, oh, I'm going to see this character and this character. I'm just like, I'm going to sit down and watch some Star Wars. And, like, honestly, like, that's me, too.
Same.
And, you know, I feel like we just have to stay patient and maintain hope because everything's going to reveal itself and, like, work out. So I miss Boba, too. But, you know, I'm not complaining. I'm like, okay, Star Wars show? Awesome. Love Star Wars. That's why I'm here.
Agreed.
I mean, yeah, I agree. I don't really care that Boba's on it. Not that, like, I don't care, but, like, I think that what's happening in the last 2 episodes makes sense for the storyline this season. You know? It wasn't like it was just, like, out of left field. Like,
yeah,
they're trying to round up the troops so that Boba can defend himself. It's not like it was just like, let's do all of this.
Yeah.
And we've been wondering.
I agree.
We've been wondering who, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but we've been wondering who, like, the big bad, I guess, if that's, like, I don't like to use that term because that's what we use, like, a lot when we talk about the movies and, like, who's the big bad of the movies. But we've been kind of wondering this whole season, like, who's, like, the big bad, who's going to be, like, kind of in charge of the syndicate and stuff like that. So then we get Cad Bane, not to jump ahead, but, you know, I think all of it is making sense. It's
I agree. And once, like, even though we didn't see Boba Fett, the title character, a lot, once Din got back to Tatooine, everything that was shown from the point he got back to Tatooine on was progressing Boba Fett's story very directly. So, yeah, to me, like, I don't know about you guys, but, like, the title of a show, like, isn't everything, and I don't judge everything based on that. And maybe we're wrong to say this is Boba's show, you know? It's the Book of Boba Fett. A book has many chapters and many different players, and books are structured many different ways. So I think it's an appropriate name for the show. And I don't think that he needs to be present in every chapter of that book.
Yeah. We also don't know if this is the only season.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I thought it was a limited series.
I don't know. It's iffy right now. People don't know if it is or not.
The way that I saw it, I thought like Book of Boba Fett was like, we're taking a detour, we're diverging from the Mandalorian a little bit, and we're taking a detour, and then we're gonna get back on track. And I feel like these past couple episodes have been getting back on track and converging the stories, because putting Boba Fett into the Mandalorian, that's a huge thing, and he just shows up, he's alive, this character we thought was dead and gone for years and years and years, and so they had to backtrack, they had some explaining to do. But I feel like people would have complained conversely if all of that Boba Fett backstory was in The Mandalorian. Because I used to be one of those people who said, this is Din's show. Why are we having all these other characters? It's distracting from Din. So I think then they decided to call these couple episodes of The Mandalorian the Book of Boba Fett and maybe edit them differently so that they told a story about Boba Fett, Because imagine if the first couple episodes of Book of Boba Fett were released as Mandalorian season 3, like people would be furious for the same reason.
Yeah, I think also just like a flaw in Star Wars fans, like ideology or something. I don't know if that's the correct word, but is that they have this idea of what things should be, and they can't let go of it. And so with these shows, a lot of the times we see like they get this idea of what's going to happen, and then if it diverges from that idea, they're displeased or whatever.
I saw a tweet that said a lot of dudes are mad that Boba Fett isn't acting like the tattoo on their shoulder.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's like we all had this preconceived idea of Boba Fett that was built on what? 5 lines of dialogue?
Yeah.
How many minutes of screen time? And so we had this idea of him, but now that, we're actually exploring him as a human person and as a character with depth and not just a cool gunslinger, with a one-liner, like, people are mad. And I'm like, I have to admit, like, I might have been one of those people at first. And I talked about this in our first episode back, about Book of Boba Fett. And how I was like, I just want to see him be brutal. I want to see him be an anti-hero or a villain or something.
Yeah.
And now he is a hero. And I can't say that I'm mad about it. Who was I to say who he was? We knew he was briefly affiliated with the Empire, but we didn't know what his motivations were. We don't know what his background is. And now we're learning all that. And we can't be mad that it's not what we expected it to be.
Yeah. And what I liked about, someone was talking about how, like, Mandalorian, like the last episode at least, and even in this episode too, like how it's not related to Boba, and like we didn't need to see that part of Mando. He could have just showed up and we'd been fine. But it goes into like the root of this show of Boba being alone, having no one, having someone, having a family, losing it all, having to rebuild. And the same, we saw that in the Mandalorian episode of just realizing that he has no one. Like, he doesn't have Grogu, he doesn't have the armor, he doesn't have his creed, anything. Like, he is alone. And I think that is why I loved that episode, is because even though Boba wasn't in the episode itself, the theme of Boba was in it, and that's why I felt like it fit into the show.
I totally agree.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, this next episode was cameos on cameos, baby. And I loved it. Like, this is like the Star Wars that you dream about when you're watching Clone Wars and stuff.
I also feel like there are lots of parallels, really quickly, between Din's story and Boba's story that are being shown. Because think about it. Like, in an episode or two before the first episode with Din Djarin back, like, we saw Boba lose who he thought was family. He had been with the Tusken Raiders for years, we learned. Years. And they became his found family. And then they were gone in an instant. And then in the same way with Din returns to his convent or whatever, and comes back to the people that he thinks are home and he thinks are family, and then they betray him, you know?
Mm.
So even though it's in different ways, within this series and within a couple episodes from each other, we saw Din and Boba both lose their found families one way or another. And so I also feel like that's a massive parallel that can't be overlooked. And it's going to, you know, that level of relatability between them is going to make them have a stronger partnership.
Yeah. What were you going to say, Kenzie?
I was like kind of gonna go away from this topic, so if anyone else has anything else to say on it.
No, you're good.
I was just gonna say, like, yeah, I totally agree. I loved it, and I love how it relates to it, and I loved this episode and how it just kind of builds onto that theme of like Din really doesn't have anyone, and how he went to Grogu hoping that he would have someone left, and we don't know, you know. Anyways, Kenzie, continue.
Just kind of talking about this part of the episode, right? We were starting to talk about the cameos. Obviously we see him go to Grogu and we see Luke again.
So good.
Luke Skywalker.
And we can talk about him too in a little bit and that whole situation. But let's talk about Ahsoka making an appearance, because there have been a lot of opinions about whether her appearance was really necessary in the episode. Because I do agree that I loved most of the cameos, and not necessarily that I didn't like seeing Ahsoka, because, you know, that's my girl and I love to see her. But was it really necessary?
No.
Yeah.
I'm conflicted. I'm saying, well, no, obviously it wasn't necessary, but I think we're going to find out more of just how much Luke and Ahsoka were working together, so to speak. And I think that, and not in Luke's part, but like maybe Luke is helping Ahsoka on her own journey right now. And so maybe this was just like showing everyone that they know each other, so that we know in the future Ahsoka can reach out to Luke and they already know each other.
Yeah, so obviously we know there's going to be an Ahsoka series. So I feel like her being in this episode was just like their way to kind of remind us that she's like still around and like prep us for her show.
I feel like recently, and like I'm not like, I mean, these are his characters. These are characters that matter to him more than anything else in the world. And he has, you know, creative freedom. But I feel like Dave Filoni really likes to put his favorite elements of the stories that he has told previously into new media. And I mean, I just feel like us seeing Order 66 and seeing clones in a flashback, as well as seeing Ahsoka, were so token Dave Filoni. And that's not necessarily a negative thing. Like, I'm not saying that in a negative connotation. I'm just saying, like, yeah, it makes sense for Dave Filoni's storytelling. He likes to put his own Easter eggs in there and nods to his previous creative projects. But, you know, I wish that sometimes it wasn't that way when it didn't make sense. And this time I think it didn't make sense. I
would have to disagree on
I mean,
but
I just like,
I respect it. I understand, like, the story wouldn't have changed if she wasn't there.
Yeah, that's what I feel like. I feel like it wasn't integral to like the episode. And like I said, I liked most of the cameos in this episode, and I always love to see Ahsoka, and I'm not necessarily mad about it. I'm not like feeling super strongly about seeing it.
No.
I do think like it wouldn't have really changed anything if he had just like seen Luke. I guess the only like reason that she was there in the storytelling perspective was because she was like the barrier between him and Grogu, because like Luke was with Grogu, and so if he had seen Luke, he would have seen, like, Grogu and him would have seen each other in person, and that was obviously something they didn't want to happen.
Couldn't R2 have just like beeped around and like toddled side to side and get angry at Din and kind of shoo him away, chase him a la Chopper, you know, like
Din has no connection to R2. Like, he does have a connection to Ahsoka. He's met her. He's fought beside her. So I do, like, understand that point of it. I really feel like it was, again, not completely unnecessary, but that it wouldn't really have changed much if she wasn't.
Ahsoka is all about like I'm no Jedi and like rejecting like the Jedi way and Jedi tradition. Like she doesn't identify with it. And so for her to be the one reinforcing Luke's really strict Jedi, doctrine about no attachments and stuff and translating that to Din, I just thought that didn't really make sense for who we understand her as. But you guys can argue with me on this. Argue with me.
I'm gonna argue. Okay. My only like thing about that is Ahsoka is that way for herself, but I do understand why she's kind of doing that, because when you think about Ahsoka and her backstory and her connection with Anakin and seeing what emotional connection did to Anakin when he had the power that he had, I think that's why Ahsoka is like, it's either don't be a Jedi or don't have the emotional connection if you're going to like follow that path, because she's seen what someone that powerful can do when they have emotional attachments and it doesn't go the way they want.
That's a really good take.
I personally think that I liked having Ahsoka there because I think if she wasn't there and Luke did the same thing that he did in the episode, people were going to be like, oh, well, Ahsoka wouldn't have done that to Grogu if she trained him. And so Ahsoka being there and saying, well, it's Luke's decision to train him. It's Luke's decision to do all this stuff. And I'm simply following what he says. Like I think Ahsoka has a lot of hope in Luke in terms of the future of the Jedi Academy that he's building, because I feel like Ahsoka knows that Luke has attachments, and we don't know what is going to happen with the decision that Luke gives him at the end of the episode, because a lot of people are saying that he is going to choose whatever one he chooses. He's going to be like, if he chooses Mando, he's going to be like, all right, like if you choose Mando, that's fine, but you're going to have to be okay with letting go of attachments if you want to be a Jedi. Like, I feel like people are thinking that it's like a test, that he is going to, whatever decision he makes, he's still going to be trained as a Jedi, but it just determines on just like how powerful Luke is willing to train him, if that makes sense. But the only reason why I think Ahsoka was in this episode was because not only shows that they know each other, but also because I feel like if she wasn't there, people would then be like, oh, well, if Grogu was training with Ahsoka, then he wouldn't be in this position, and it would just like cause a lot of questions,
Yeah, I think it was important to have Ahsoka like support Luke verbally and say like, I'm aware of what he's doing and the way that he's doing it, and like I'm in this with him. I do think that was valuable. What were you gonna say, Kenzie?
I just want to know, like in the long term, like how they're going to like explain Ahsoka knowing Luke, or like, because
maybe the Ahsoka series, like.
Well, yeah, but also, okay, I have a lot of like questions about this whole situation, because like how many things are they planning on putting CGI Luke in?
I'm not mad.
I know. And like, listen, I'm not either, but I do just like wonder, like long-term wise, because I'm like, clearly they're not planning on having him in a ton, because I think they would have found a different actor to play him instead of like CGIing Mark Hamill's face. If they were planning on having him like long-term in something, just because like plausibility wise, like it's just not very like having to do all of that like long term, but then we keep seeing him, so I'm like,
but I also feel like that's totally valid. That's a totally valid concern. I've thought about the same thing, but then I also have to think about how like much the technology has improved in 2 years, and how much Luke's character and this, demonstration of his character has changed from the finale of Mando in 2020 to now. Like, it's pretty crazy. And if they're able to do that much work in such a short amount of time, I can only imagine that it's going to get better. I mean, ILM, the people at ILM are amazing. I don't know if ILM is the one responsible for this, but like they make magic, dude. Like they're crazy. So I can only foresee this technology like growing more advanced and them learning more about it and making it, a lot more realistic if it's what they intend to do for the future, but who knows.
I personally think what's gonna happen is that Grogu is gonna choose Mando, and then Luke is going to be like, okay, you can be with Mando, but then once Din dies, like, you will become a Jedi. Or he's gonna test him and see like how his attachments are to other people, how he was. But I know that's like, yeah, right, whatever. But like the reason why I say that is because if they do that, Luke is not in the picture anymore, if that makes sense.
I just don't see. There was a lot of debate about this, and I know Ruthie's going to have a lot of opinions about this one, about like the Luke situation, because we were all talking about it on Twitter this week. But I just don't see Luke as the type of person who's going to be like, well, you picked him, bye, you can't be a Jedi. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like Luke literally picked his family. Like, that was what he did in the originals. And so I don't foresee, like, I don't think that he's going to turn his back on Grogu if Grogu picks Mando.
I think he's going to still be in his life and like monitoring him from like afar or whatever, but I don't think he's going to like be continuing his training, if that makes sense. Like, he's just going to be having a watchful eye over him, and while he's watching over him, he's, training all the other Jedi, whatever. And then,
then trying to kill Ben Solo, but that's a whole
and then trying to kill Ben Solo, which we might see a glimpse at in the finale, but
no comment.
Well, but still, like, if Grogu leaves,
no comment.
If Grogu leaves, he would still be really young if we look at like the sequels and how old Luke is. And we're, like, Grogu, he could have all that could have happened while Grogu was still chilling with Din Djarin. And then by the time he was ready to be trained again, it was over,
Okay, so Lukey. My sweet cheese, my good time boy. Here's the thing. Luke is still really, really young. And he is...
for everyone who cannot imagine this, right? Luke is, what? This is how many years after? Taking place like 5 years after? So he's, what, 24 years old?
The Mandalorian's after 5.
Yeah, he's a baby.
Yeah,
he's a baby boy. He's
20s.
Not even 30 yet.
No. He's in his early to mid 20s. None of us can make responsible decisions at this point in our lives.
So also he realized he was Force sensitive and was trained in the Force and became a Jedi at a time where the Jedi were a dead religion. Order 66 has happened. There's no Jedi temple. There's no Jedi order. There's no Jedi council, Jedi politics, nothing. And so he was trained by two of the only practicing Jedi left in the universe, Yoda and Obi-Wan. He had no formal classes or training. He was taught individually by these two people and had no one else with the ability that he had to compare himself to, And so we see Luke giving Grogu lessons and then later the ultimatum word for word from what Yoda taught him. We see him training him with the training remote in the same way that Obi-Wan taught him. Because funny. This is what Luke knows as right. This is what Luke knows as what worked for him and what helped him get to the rank that he is now. And so Luke, as a young person with good intentions and with very limited understanding of Jedi history, is taking what has been taught to him and passing it down as clearly as he can, because I think Luke is so afraid of messing up. And I can tell that Luke is really emotionally attached to Grogu. Like, just in the way that we see his face and the way that he looks at him and interacts with him, he really, really cares about Grogu. And I just think that Luke is a young person who has been thrust into this position of power where he feels this obligation to pass on the Jedi way, you know, and it's a big responsibility and he doesn't want to mess up, so he is just taking the blueprint that already exists to him and translating that to a new generation.
Yeah,
because it's like the only thing he has to go off of.
Yeah, that could also be one of the reasons why Ahsoka's there, is that he might be seeking advice from Ahsoka on just like talking about how the Jedi used to do it, and maybe he's taking that advice and he's like adapting it to what he thinks the Jedi should be and how the Jedi have differed. Because I'm sure Ahsoka is like, this is what went wrong, and Ahsoka has no problem telling that the Jedi were in the wrong a lot of the times, and you know, he might be seeking wisdom from her, because obviously, like, like, he respects her and they respect each other, and I think that Ahsoka is willing to give him advice but not be there and make the decision for him on how he is going to teach new Jedi.
I totally agree. I think that's a really good take, and I mean, Ahsoka and Luke have completely different views and opinions on what the Jedi are and what they're about based on their experiences. So Ahsoka has accepted, even though I don't feel it is my responsibility to carry on the legacy of the Jedi and train the next generation of Jedi, if, you know, Anakin Skywalker's son wants to do that, I'm going to give him the tools to do it right. So yeah, no, I think Ahsoka can offer Luke a really valuable perspective, because she was a Padawan in the time where, you know, the Jedi Temple exists and the Council existed and all of that. So she has a very different perspective on everything, and even remembers. We have to remember, Ahsoka, you know, she understands the kind of training that Grogu had at the temple.
Yeah.
Because she had some of that and witnessed some of that herself. So she's able to tell Luke, this is how they used to do things in the past, in the days of yore. And so now it is your responsibility to do this. And I think Luke is just terrified, and that's why he's copying Yoda word for word. Because there's no one that he sees as wiser than Yoda or Obi-Wan. So I don't think that Luke giving the ultimate, sorry, jumping a little bit, but I don't think Luke giving Grogu the ultimatum at the end is a bad thing, and I don't think it was some original idea that he had. I think it's some lesson that he feels like he has to teach, and he doesn't know a better way to do it, because Yoda gave him the same ultimatum.
Yeah.
You know? And so he's just going off what he knows, and I don't think he has bad intentions.
I think he's playing it as it goes. Like, I don't think he's doing exactly what Ahsoka is telling him, but I think he is taking what she is telling him and taking what he knows and taking what, you know, what he wants for others, like what he has learned, how his training went wrong in his own mind, or how he wished that he was trained and how much time he wish he had, you know, and like taking everything that he can in order to make his own vision of what it should be, and doing his best to try to like create something new that is, you know, what the Jedi were supposed to be, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that I have the most unpopular opinion of any Mandalorian fan, and that is that I don't want to see Grogu go back with Din. Like, I would just like to like have Grogu like do his thing, and then have Din is about I think most of us know that the next season of Mandalorian is going to contain a lot of Din going on this journey of like the Mandalore. Of course, like I love him and Grogu's relationship, but I think that whatever's going to happen with him in Mandalore and probably reuniting with Bo-Katan and stuff like that is like a journey that maybe Din needs to go on without Grogu.
I agree. I think that's a good take. I was like, I either never want to see Grogu again or I want him back, and there's no in between, and we're in the in between right now, and I feel like it's gonna hurt my soul seeing Din have to deal with life without Grogu, especially like after, like, I know Din is just waiting for he's begging for the day still to take Grogu back. And it's just like seeing him go from, okay, when is he going to be done with training, to I have to move on, is going to be a really sad step. And I want to see it in character building, but it's going to hurt like a butt cheek on a stick, let me tell you.
There's a real obvious solution to this dilemma.
No, Ruthie.
They just have to get married. Okay? Din and Luke need to enter a co-parenting relationship. And then Grogu never has to choose. Everyone lives happily ever after. Cute little Star Wars family. No, I'm like kidding. Haha.
Iconic. My only reason, or not like reason, I guess, but like obviously Grogu is super important to him, but I think that maybe he was just like this not stepping stone, because obviously Grogu is always going to matter to Din, but like this thing that needed to happen to Din to make him realize that like feelings, emotions, that kind of stuff is not necessarily bad. Because I think, stepping into the Mandalore situation again, he's going to need a lot of that to navigate what he's about to go through with the Darksaber and Mandalore.
Yeah.
Big facts. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to like reiterate that like it's just as much as I want Grogu to come back with Mando, like you bring up a good point. Like I think it would just be it would be so emotional and impactful for Din in his season to not only deal with like the Darksaber and Mandalore and meeting all the Mandalorians and figure out what he believes as a Mandalorian, but also dealing with the fact that he can't be with his son ever again, and like how he like let goes of that and lets go of his attachment of Grogu, if that makes sense. And I think that would be so sad, but such good character development on Din's part. But yeah. Your turn, Grogu.
Everybody, I'm Grogu. Yes, hello.
Yeah, sorry.
Battle. Everybody's spitting this episode, okay? We've got some good takes. I wanted to go off Kenzie's thing of saying that Grogu was like a stepping stone to a larger part of Din's journey. I just feel like Grogu's journey with Din has a very clear ending. Like, Din was on a mission with Grogu, and Din's mission was to deliver him to his family, to his people, the Jedi. And, well, okay, I'm like, I'm kind of going back on what I was about to say as I'm saying it, but we'll explore this. Okay, what I was going to say is, he had his mission to bring Grogu and reunite him with the Jedi, and that was a very clear goal. We know that Grogu is literally in the safest situation he could possibly be in the galaxy. He's with the most powerful Jedi alive. He is happy, he's protected. He and Luke are laughing together and love each other, have a connection. Like, he's in good hands, and I think Din knows that. And I think that I agree, it'll be a tough transition for Din because he got attached. But I think that his journey and getting attached to Grogu and protecting Grogu, somebody who was not of his kind, and somebody from a lineage that he knows nothing about. Like, I think this has really opened Din's eyes to the toxic. This sounds like a girly podcast thing to say, but no, but like seriously, like the toxic like ideologies held by his convent or whatever, covert, whatever, what's the right word? Convent? Covert. Convent is like for nuns, but they're kind of religious, so whatever.
They're the same.
I think that's what I've been saying.
His cult.
Anyway,
that's what.
His cult. I think that his journey, like protecting Grogu and bringing him to safety, and learning about the Jedi, learning about other people and other cultures along the way. That sounds kind of cheesy, but I mean, seriously, I think that's opened his eyes to what a limited worldview he has. And now that he's been thrust into this position as a leader, I think that it could be really cool to see him bridge gaps between cultures in Star Wars rebuild the relationship between the Mandalorian and the Jedi, maybe that will be Din's new mission, Like, so do I think Grogu is gone forever, even if his relationship with Din is largely put to an end and separated? No, there's no way that Disney is going to do that to us. Everybody knows how emotionally attached everybody is to Grogu. I definitely think that we will see Grogu and Din reunite at some point, but just not permanently. And I think that's okay. Like,
yeah.
But I agree. I think that his journey in assisting Grogu and bringing him to safety and bringing him to the Jedi was this whole journey about him learning how to be a better leader as the new Mandalore,
Yeah.
It's very like it's giving me very much moving away for college vibes, and the parents
precisely
being like, oh, I'll visit you on weekends, and the kid's like, no, Mom, you can't visit me on weekends, and he's like, no, I'll buy you dinner, and it's like, no, Mom, go away.
Yeah.
It's okay.
But like, more serious and like never see again type thing. But
LOL.
Whatever.
Should we talk about the Wild Wild West part of this episode? Move out of the bamboo forest. Dodge, you should put your background.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
All right. This is where we start to cyberbully Dodge.
This is where the games begin. Whoa! Cyberbullying.
This is where the fun begins. Oh my god. Brutal. Mean. Rude. For those of you who are our audio amigos,
the funeral
this week,
is Wednesday.
Dodge has just changed her virtual background on our streaming platform to
the death
Cobb
of
Vanth
Cobb
getting shot by Cad Bane.
Look at that.
My background is a bamboo forest
through his body.
Okay.
See, okay, let me
Peepaw Bane.
Whatever. First of all, I feel like I should explain myself. Okay, so I made one tweet saying that it would be funny, it would be hilarious, I would cackle if the finale started and it was Cobb Vanth's funeral. I just thought it would be funny,
Sadist. No.
And I got attacked. Let me tell you.
As you should.
My notifications were blowing up. But my own friends were turning against me. Y'all were turning
because
against me.
Because you sent this. I have photo evidence.
No.
It says
that was taken 24 hours after the tweets which was published. So
Dodge said, and I quote, I hope Cobb dies.
You heard it here, folks.
Because I was like, it was a joke, but then people got so freaking butthurt about it. Some joking, some not joking. And I was like, listen, guys, I love Cobb Vanth, but I wasn't going to tell them then. I was like, fine then. I hope he dies because y'all are just giving me a hard time. And so I think he died. That's my final opinion. And I will see you guys at the funeral on Wednesday.
He was hit in the shoulder meat. Look at the picture you have on your screen. His little muscle was taking a chunk out of. He'll be fine, dude.
I agree that he was hit in the shoulder. I can see that in the image. Like, I'm looking at him.
He was shot once.
I'm looking at him.
He's okay.
He was shot once. Yes. But however, you have major important arteries in your shoulder. And so
we're getting a biology lesson. This is Star Wars.
And
Maul came back from the dead. Palpatine came back.
A minute to bleed out. So, he could die, and I'm gonna stand on that hill because I would
like to remind you. I would like to remind you.
No reminding me. Okay, I stand on my ground.
What happened? Okay, wait. Can we just go back in time? What happened in the prequels to Darth Maul? Can you just tell me facts?
Listen.
No. Speak. No, you have to answer the question. What happened to Darth Maul in the prequels?
He passed away. He got sliced.
How?
What happened?
He got kebabbed straight through his stomach and then fell down a shaft.
And then in Clone Wars, what happened?
And then Dave Filoni said, nah, I like that man. I'm going to resurrect him and turn him into a spider. That's what he said. And he did it.
Doesn't Dave Filoni have creative control on this show too? It's almost like if he likes someone on this show, he could save them too.
However, I think it would be a bigger impact on Din and Boba to want to fight him if they lose their good, handsome man, Cobb Vanth.
They have, but Din and Boba especially, but Boba doesn't have nothing for Cobb Vanth because Cobb Vanth was parading around in his armor anyways. Second of all, Din doesn't even know the guy like that. They have a special
connection because he wore his armor.
No, I think Boba would
be a hater.
I think Boba would shoot Cobb if he saw him after that whole confrontation. So I don't think Boba has nothing for Cobb. And
I hope he dies then.
Din doesn't know him like that. So
we're straying from the really important part of this conversation about Cobb Vanth, and that's the fact that Will and I were 100% right about our theory about his comeback from last week. If you guys listened, and when I dropped my bad word and they had to bleep it out, it's because I got so excited theorizing about why Cobb Vanth would come back and help Din and Boba. And guess what? He is. So that's what's really important here. Girly, you're on my nerves. I love you.
You're dodge.
See, I love chaos. I love violence.
You're taking it too far. You're taking it too far.
Love the grip this has on me now.
My favorite meme about this was when Riley tweeted the little gif of somebody painting a clown face and it said Dodge putting on her makeup every morning.
Yeah, because that is the truth. And I have to agree. Like, Bestie, I cannot defend you on this one.
But like he's not dead, dude. He's not dead.
Listen,
he's okay.
Like, I got your back on a lot of things. But this one I can't.
Did y'all not see that the understudies said that Din should die and that Omera
I don't think that's right either. I'm not about that. I don't think that's cool. I don't identify with that. Treason. However, I do think you're wrong.
Okay, dessert.
Love you though.
Dessert.
Okay. Can we talk about Peepaw Bane?
I would like for you to never say that again.
Peepaw Bane. He's a little grandpa now. Okay. I think that he looks cute. Okay? And that's not an insult. But like he doesn't look as scary as he does in Clone Wars. He looks like cute. He looks squishy. Crazy. He looks round. He's got British teeth.
His face looks squishy. You cannot deny it, Dodge.
He's a little sprinkle. He's a little scrunkly scrimblo.
His face looks like if you poked it, it would do that, you know?
Oh, it would make a rubber... No, guys. If you squoze nose, it would make, like, a rubber ducky sound.
Squoze.
I'm sorry, I always say squoze instead of squeezed. Whatever. I don't like the word squeeze.
That's so funny. Oh, my gosh.
If you pinched his nose, it would go, like, honk, honk, like a clown or something.
No one's ever touched him. I wonder if anyone's touched him like that. You know?
I know some people on Twitter who would like to, unfortunately.
I know, people are obsessed with this man.
Trying to unsee that.
The thing, I love Megamind. I just think
Megamind?
Also,
girl, did you just say Megamind?
Yeah.
Oh my god,
dude. Smurf, okay? Love
Megamind.
Him. But
that was funny.
I'm confused on how people knew he was going to show up because we didn't get any hints. And people on Twitter the night before were like, oh my god, Cad Bane's gonna show up. And I was like,
yeah, I thought that was kind of a far-fetched one, and I wasn't on board with it. And then I was like, did y'all?
And then I saw him walking.
Pre-screen this?
How did people know?
I'm sure there was leaks or like
somebody
people
leaked that. Dude.
Well, there was probably like also not like leaks necessarily, but they probably looked up the casting information and like guessed based on the casting information.
On. That's no fun.
Where's Toto? Where's my Toto little boy?
I ate
voiced by Seth
my
little Leonardo Ninja Turtle man. Where is he? I want to know where he's at. Is he safe? Is he okay? Is he in the ship? That's what I want to know.
My favorite thing that has come out of this episode is everyone comparing him.
I know
to Rango.
No, Rango.
One of us in this town.
Dude, Johnny Depp Rango. That's wild.
Yeah.
So
that's a little kooky. Do we have any predictions for the finale? Because I have no clue what's going to happen at this point.
No, I have no idea.
I want it to be 2 hours long. Like there's so much that needs to be done that I'm like, how is this going to happen? Because also, I would love to see what happened to the decision that Luke gave him in the first episode of Mando. I want that to be like the starting part of Mando.
Who directed this episode? The coming
Dave
episode.
Dave Filoni. Yeah.
Dave again. Dave. Oh my god.
And the finale.
Dave Filoni.
He's doing the finale too.
I have no idea.
Oh, he directed this episode.
Yes, he directed this.
He directs the
we don't know.
Finale.
I can look.
I'm looking
and see if it's available.
I don't know if it's released or not, but yeah. So I kind of want to see that in the first episode of Mando, but we're probably not going to because there has been rumors that Han shows up with little baby Swallow, and so I think we're probably gonna see that. We have to freaking see the whole battle, obviously, and then what's gonna happen? Are we gonna have a cliffhanger where it goes into suddenly Boba Fett is on this task to go to every single planet that the Pikes are on and fight for them, or are we gonna see like Mando suddenly having some sort of skipping his step to become the leader of Mandalore again? I don't know. So then we have to see the Rancor. I just have so many things I need to see. What do you think, Ruthie?
I literally am lost at this point. Like, the last episode exceeded my expectations so much and went so far beyond anything I really thought they were going to put on screen realistically that I don't have anything to say. I'm going to be wrong. I'm just going to sit this one out. I had my big Cobb Vanth prediction that came true to a T, so I'm still riding that high, and I have absolutely nothing to contribute of value. Thank you.
Yeah, if Cobb Vanth ends up living, I don't know if I can show my face on the internet ever again. So this might be my last episode. So it was nice knowing you guys. Go big or go home. You know what I'm saying? And
go out with a bang.
Plenty of memes,
like Cobb.
No matter what happens. Exactly, Ruthie. Get behind me. Get behind me.
I'm
I'll
not.
save you.
No.
Come on. You know you wanna. It's funny. It's funny. Whatever.
Kenzie, do you have any predictions for the finale?
I'm sorry, I was playing Wordle. I'm not gonna lie.
That's okay.
Again.
Anyway, no, I don't have any predictions specifically. I think that Cobb isn't dead. That's my prediction.
As well.
Loser. Tomato.
Tomato.
Throwing tomatoes.
Throwing tomatoes.
I don't know. I just feel like anything could happen at this point.
Me too. I'm like
with everything that's happened so far, like
possibilities.
I have no idea what's in everyone's back pocket at this point.
I know.
I agree. I'm like, I don't even feel right making predictions.
I think it vastly depends on if this is going to be the last episode. And by that, I mean, like, if this is a limited series and this is the conclusion, or if there's going to be a season 2.
Chapter 2 begins next year.
Because if there's going to be another season, I think it will be different. If there's not, if this was a limited series and this is the last episode of Boba we're going to see, I think they're going to kick everyone's behinds and Boba's going to win. And we get to see him and, like, Fennec, like, kind of
save the world and join
like,
Din.
Yeah, like, be, like, ending with them, like, things going well on Tatooine for them.
Yeah.
I think, okay, I guess my one prediction for the end is that Boba and Din are going to become a solid partnership. I don't know.
Like Din on Tatooine partnership, but Boba and Fennec are a solid partnership.
Maybe they'll become a trio.
Become a trio, yeah.
We could have loves their trios.
That's true.
We don't need more.
Go off.
If they throw in another unnecessary trio, I'll just start swinging. I can't do it anymore.
I feel like what's gonna happen is that Boba and Fennec are gonna live happily ever after on Tatooine as the leaders or whatever. And I think something's gonna happen where Din is going to be given a clue or given some sort of idea of what he should do next. Yeah, what he should do next with the Darksaber. Someone mentions it. Someone
pretty much
says like, I knew the history of it, something like that. And so Din is like, oh, let me,
Luke should
figure
train
this
Din
out.
with the Darksaber.
Yeah, so I think we're gonna see that.
Bro, for real, that man needs to learn how to carry that thing.
I know.
The way he don't know what
he's embarrassing.
That's why he should have gone to see Luke, not even to see Grogu, to just have been like, can you show me how to wield this thing? Yeah, I pretty much agree. I think those are like my only like 2 predictions. That's like my only prediction. Granted that this is going to be the last episode of Book of Boba, is that Boba and Fennec are left chilling on Tatooine, running things, and it's going to end with like showing where season 3 of Mando will pick up, like showing Din going to the next place or some clue, something like that, like him flying off into the distance to whatever, like something like that. Yeah.
Interesting. I have a question. Do you guys think that we are going to see a trailer for Kenobi or Bad Batch?
No.
I think there will be a trailer for Kenobi during the Super Bowl.
Okay.
That's
next week.
I forgot that sports are a thing.
I mean, my only thing with that is that Disney or Star Wars or whatever recently tends to operate off of like a 2-month basis with trailers and releases. So it would be roughly 2.5 months. Well, if it's the May 4th show, if it premieres on May 4th, it's gonna be basically 2 months away at that point.
Yeah, I will be interested to see what happens. I think that we're not going to get a trailer on the last day of Boba unless it's, again, a glimpse at what's going to happen in Mando Season 3. And I do think that Kenobi will probably be the May 4th show that we're getting this year. I don't know when Bad Batch is going to come back. I haven't even seen all of Season 1.
I think Bad Batch will be like this summer, and then Mando Season 3 is going to be like November, December.
Where's Andor? I'm missing Andor, and then,
I don't freaking know,
so many
dude.
questions.
Unless they have 2 shows premiering simultaneously.
Again, the Ahsoka situation. When are they ever even going to start filming?
Potential Boba Season 2.
There's a lot of Star Wars stuff too that they confirmed for Disney Plus that like they've just stopped talking about altogether. Like obviously we know like the Rangers,
a lot of them.
Rangers got scrapped.
But there's a new thing, you guys. Have you heard of, and maybe cut this out because I don't know if I'm allowed to say this at this point, but like some people were sent PR boxes from Disney Plus that had like the upcoming Star Wars content listed on the sides, like their logos. And there was a show or movie or whatever listed on the side in the original like Star Wars font, and it was called Tales of the Jedi. And I wonder if that's going to be a Luke show about Luke's temple.
That would be interesting. Could be
either
be the ending of
it's either going to be that or it's going to be old stuff from before Anakin and stuff like that.
Yeah,
it's called Tales of the Jedi. It's gonna be like old, like how the Jedi Council was run and stuff like that.
Yeah,
because I feel like
the kids will love that one.
Oh yeah.
The kids
will eat that up. It's for the kids.
Nom, nom, nom.
Oh yeah.
Well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us on this interesting episode of us speaking our opinions as we always do. And what we think, why people were there, why people weren't there, why, Boba is the storytelling that it is now, and what is to come in Boba and Star Wars and all that jazz. And, we're enjoying the journey. So no matter what happens, y'all will see us here. We'll be vibing. We'll having a good time. Let us know what you guys think is going to happen in the finale. Or if you watch us after the finale, what your reaction to the finale was. You guys can follow us all at Lady Lorians follow
Instagram,
us at
TikTok,
Lady Lorians.
Twitter.
All
Our
the
Instagram
jazz.
is almost to 1K, so tell your mom to follow it too.
Yeah, tell your mom. And if your dad has like an account that doesn't have a profile pic, that tends to happen, tell him to follow it as well. Tell the whole fam, tell all of your kids in your class, all that jazz.
We've already said that if we reach 1K on Instagram, we'll eat a sock.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
we've been needing to eat socks lately, so
yeah, they're
maybe
looking pretty delectable.
Pretty delightful. Every day they just get a little
We are
bit
29 followers
looking.
away from us eating a sock.
The number.
Oh, God.
Yeah, yum, yum, yum. So make sure you guys follow us. If you guys are on Apple Podcasts, or even if you don't listen on Apple Podcasts, leave us a review. We haven't had one in a long time, and we keep on begging and pleading and asking you with all of our hearts to leave us a review, and no one has been giving us a review.
We'll give you a shout out on the show.
And I stay up every night past 2 a.m. and I go, maybe today's the day that someone's gonna leave a review, and every day I'm disappointed. So please don't disappoint me again and leave me a review. I'm just kidding. You don't have to leave a review, but I would actually really appreciate it if you leave us a review.
It's your homework.
Yeah, it's your homework tonight. Make sure you do that before next week. Anything else that I am missing?
Nar.
Ladies.
Nar. We're good.
I think we're good. We'll see you guys next week and enjoy the finale with us. Bye.
Goodbye, everyone.